We've covered a lot of information in this video. I hope you find it enlightening. I hope it helps you make some money, reduce your expenses, increase your income. And again, these are value add strategies for your properties. What's up, all my real estate peeps? This is Brian Lucier with another episode of the Why Not Real Estate Podcast Golden Nugget. The Golden Nuggets will take some tip or technique and we'll unpack it that you can use in your real estate investing portfolio, business, or your toolbox to reduce expenses and increase your income. Today, we're going to review value add strategies. So value add strategies, for the sake of this podcast, we're going to assume that you're already at the point that you've done all your due diligence, you are purchasing this property, and you're creating your value add plan that you can implement to, again, increase your revenue or decrease your expenses. So whether you got it at a discount price or if it was poorly managed, and there's room for improvement, we're going to break down a couple different areas of the property that you can implement some value adds. So these strategies will work on smaller buildings like triplexes, quads, or 12 units, and they can also be applied to the larger complexes with hundreds of units in them. And again, your economy of scale could save you a lot more money or increase your income a lot more. So for the larger properties, there are definitely more opportunities for value add because of common areas like clubhouses, workout and weight rooms, garage parking that you may be able to charge a premium for, being able to implement dog parks or some other type of amenity around that. And there's other things you might be able to do to implement some value add strategies. So let's get started and jump in. Next, in your value add, we want to look at the bedrooms, living rooms, and all those other interior living spaces inside the unit. So absolutely, and this goes for the kitchens, the bathrooms, the bedrooms, the living rooms, the dens, the libraries, whatever wall you have, whatever ceiling you have, has to have a fresh coat of paint. So you don't have to go crazy doing like 20 different colors. But if you pick out a palette of maybe a couple different grays or some accent color, whatever the trending colors are, and have those as your SKUs, those are the paints that you always go to. Maybe your bedrooms, you always do a certain color. Maybe your living rooms or dining rooms, you always do a certain colors. Kitchen and bathrooms, maybe you have a couple different choices. Maybe 2 or 3 colors overall. I would definitely recommend a satin finish in a bathroom because it's going to have moisture to it. And I would use matte finishes throughout the entire apartment other than the bathroom because that's going to hide imperfections in the drywall. Sometimes if you shine a flashlight on the wall, you can see those imperfections. But overall, the matte color is going to forgive a lot of sins in the painting. So fresh coat overall, ceilings overall, pick 2 or 3 different colors that you want to use. And another great idea in your kitchen areas or in your bedrooms, if you're going to put in USB plugs, that's a really great idea. You can just swap out the old plug and put in a new plug. Make sure it's got those USB chargers. You've got the old USB chargers. You've got the version 3 chargers now. So that's another great thing you can do. Looking at lighting packages, you don't have to put in ceiling fans. I have landlords who go one way or the other. They don't like ceiling fans because they'll break and then they need to be repaired. But put in a nice clean light and you could probably do a contractor package that you could buy in bulk. That's always a good idea. And then again, durable flooring. If you want to go back to that vinyl tile plank, that's a great option. Sometimes when we tear out carpets, we'll find hardwood floors underneath, which is great because we can refinish those and that really adds to the value of the property as well. So again, for bedrooms, pick a palette of paint colors, use satin in the bathrooms, flat colors in all the other rooms. Pick a palette, maybe 2 or 3. Another really great one. Can you add an extra bedroom? That is huge. If you've got an extra living space or a den or some area that you can convert into another bedroom, you absolutely are going to be able to add value to that property because it has more bedrooms. You'll be able to get higher rent. It'll evaluate higher, and it'll increase your cash flow and the value of the property. So fresh paint, pick a couple colors. Those USB charging stations, just swap them out for plugs. You could have your electrician do that. Custom lighting packages and durable flooring. These are all great ideas for the living areas that you're going to have in your value add properties. The next area we're going to unpack in this tip video is interiors and exteriors. We talked about the inside of the unit and where you can do a value add. Now let's look at the other areas inside the building. We want to create a series of consistent and uniform checklists for the rehabs. If you're using a certain light fixture, paints, doorknobs, get those SKUs. And if you can buy them in bulk from Home Depot or some other supply house, that would be awesome. We did talk about having 2 or 3 custom paint colors and your trim in all your units. Not just in this one unit, but throughout the whole building. If you know that you're always using like semi-gloss white, then it becomes really simple later when you have to do maintenance or touch-ups to just go in. You can send in your team and get that taken care of. Another great idea in the New England area, if you pay for the heat or if the tenants pay for their heat, more if you pay for the heat, but you can put governors on thermostats so they won't be able to crank up the heat to like 90 degrees and open up the windows. That may happen anyways, they'll open the windows, but you can set a governor at like 72 degrees or 74 degrees so you can control your expenses on that. And then again, you're going to look at storage space opportunities inside the unit. Maybe there might be hallways, other areas of the building that you might be able to carve out and charge that for additional space. So again, for the interior, we want to have a consistent checklist of what we're going to be using for colors, handles, knobs. I keep saying this, but anything that the tenant touches every day should be of a little bit higher quality and make sure it's durable. Make things consistent, your paint colors, your trim on your baseboards, your windows, your door jambs. Look at ways of saving energy. Update your HVAC and heating systems if possible. A lot of times in the older triplexes that we buy in New England, it'll be one furnace. So if you, when you're doing your numbers up front, can figure out adding another furnace or separating those utilities so the tenants pay for that, that's a huge bonus if you can get that to work as well. So those are your interior tips. For exterior tips, we can look at all kinds of other ways to add value and curb appeal to the property as well. One really huge thing that you can do in a rental unit is to create outdoor living spaces. You might be able to pick up one of these grills, portable grills, or even like a grill to cook some burgers or hot dogs, stuff like that, and designate an area. You might be able to have your maintenance team or your contractors build you an inexpensive picnic table, or maybe you can pick up some inexpensive patio furniture and just designate a space that the tenants can enjoy after hours on weekends. Making pet-friendly areas. If you're going to allow pets or dogs in your property, designate an area for the dog to be walked. So if they're not in that area, you're not having complaints from all the other tenants. And you can always charge a premium for pets. So that's something to look at as well. Adequate motion detector lighting. This is huge. When you walk onto the property at night, not only is it safer if it lights up like Fort Knox, when you step onto the property, if all these lights come on, that's awesome. But it's also safety for your residents. They're walking on, they're going to be able to see the sidewalk, they're going to have access into the buildings. And make this part of your interior as well, your hallways. You're probably going to have emergency lighting anyways. So at the same time the electrician is putting all that up, you can pigtail off a motion detector sensor light. So when the tenants come in at the end of the day and it's dark out, the lights will automatically turn on if they're carrying a baby or groceries or anything like that. The hallways will automatically light up. So that's a great thing to do as well. Can you add additional parking to the property? This goes twofold. By adding more parking spaces, you add value and premium to the property, and you're going to reduce your landscaping costs because you'll have less lawn to mow, less flowers to trim, all that type of stuff. So additional parking, you could always go down to City Hall, talk to the surveyor's office, and they'll be able to give you some ideas on where you might be able to carve up and do some additional parking. We talked a little bit about the landscaping. Make your landscaping uniform and minimal. You don't need to have 20 different types of flowers. Maybe you can put in a couple different bushes. Cut it back. Instead of putting mulch near the base of the foundation, I would suggest landscaping rocks for a couple different reasons. Mulch gets old after a while. You're going to need to rake it out and replace it every 2 or 3 years. Rocks will stay there forever. Also, they're not going to burn. We've had this happen sometimes. Someone will be walking past the property, take a cigarette butt, flick it into the bark mulch on a hot summer day, and next thing you know, we had a small fire. No significant damage, but definitely a recommendation from the fire department to no longer put mulch around the base of the foundation of the property. Stone is always a better idea for drainage. Low maintenance, looks good. You can do those white rocks. Looks really nice. Your mailbox areas should be pristine and brand new. If you're buying a property and there's an area where all the mailboxes are, go out and spend a couple $100, install matching, unique, uniform mailboxes. Make sure you put the lettering on there. Take a couple minutes, print out the tenant's name, make it look really nice, because this is another area that the tenants are going to see every day. If you can put the locks on them, that's one more added security. And then spend the money on your entry doors. Your curb appeal, when people are walking through the door, that's the first thing they're going to see in that building. Make sure that it works, the doorknob works. If you're going to do a keypad access, that's always a bonus. That adds a layer of feeling of safety and security to the building. May cost a couple $100. You can always get a programmable Wi-Fi one. If it's in your budget, that's a good thing to do. But the curb appeal of that front door, spend a little extra money there. It's called a 9 light. That's that glass that has the 9 windows in it. This will also allow daylight into the hallway during the day, so that's a great thing. If you want to spend a little bit extra money and do some custom window in there, they've got some really nice options that kind of look like clear stained glass. But spend the money on the front door because, again, that's the first door your tenant is going to go through, whether it's for a showing or coming home at the end of the day. You want them to feel good about living there. And curb appeal for the rest of the property. Make sure that it's well kept and low maintenance, because that will not cost you extra money. You want to make sure that you have the property looking nice. And then lastly, on your exterior tips, did it come with a garage that you might be able to convert into extra storing? Can you separate it for a couple $100 with a couple of sheets of plywood and have designated separate bays that you can rent out? We just had a guest on the show. They had a 2-stall garage that had a loft space above it. And the gentleman who rented out the 2 bays wanted to use the loft space, so they went in and did the whole renovation on their own dime. And now for that garage alone, they're charging over $900. So instead of just getting a couple $100 for each bay, is there additional space? Can you rent that out, and can you convert other areas of the property into rentable space? Storage is always a bonus. This loft didn't have a toilet or a sink or anything, but it was a perfect little man cave for the guy. He had a pool table, a little plug-in refrigerator. It was a nice place for him to unwind. So look for those opportunities in your exteriors as well, other areas that you can add value. Okay, we're going to wrap up our value add segment here looking at common areas. So we've talked about the insides, the bathrooms, the kitchens, the other rooms. We've talked about the interiors and exteriors of the properties, ways that you can reduce your maintenance, increase your income, reduce your expenses. So now let's talk about common areas. I can talk. Coin-operated laundries are huge. It's a great amenity to have for your residents if you can add it. I mean, when you're doing your renovations, I would absolutely put these in a common area in the basement. I don't like coin-operated laundries on upper floors because if there's ever damage or water, it's going to go all the way down the floors and cause a lot of problems that could be expensive. I like coin-operated laundry. They offset the water bills and the utilities in the building as well. And make sure that your laundry room is clean. If you can throw in a couple extra cabinets, we talked about ordering SKUs for your kitchens and your bathrooms. If you can throw in a couple extra cabinets that are actually going to match what they have in their kitchen, that's just another uniform thing where they feel that this is their home, their living space. And if you want to, you can designate a couple cabinets for this apartment or that apartment that they might be able to store their laundry facilities down there. I would absolutely refuse and restrict using storage areas in the commons. You don't want to go down into the basement and just have people storing a bunch of stuff in there. You want to restrict this from happening in attics, hallways, basements, other areas where other people would have access to their stuff. And you can always say, you know, we don't want other people to be able to rummage through your stuff. But the truth of it is, they're going to move out, leave all this stuff behind, and it's going to cost you money to get rid of it. Also, seek paid storage opportunities. We talked a little bit about carving up maybe a hallway, or if there's a space you can add a closet, that's great. But look in the basements. We've done this in some of our units as well. A couple of 2x4s, some chicken wire and some plastic, a few locks and hinges. For hundreds of dollars, we were able to create several different bins that we could rent out for $100 a month for additional storage in the basement. Again, you want to be careful here. If the basement is moist or damp, you want to put disclaimers in there. And then, if at all possible, separate the utilities. Being able to have separate gas, separate oil, separate heat, separate electric are huge. Because if you're the landlord paying for all the utilities in the building, you could really get some surprises, or we've seen this, tenants will just turn on the heat, open the windows in the dead of winter. We have clauses in our lease to prevent that as happening. So we've covered a lot of information in this video. I hope you find it enlightening. I hope it helps you make some money, reduce your expenses, increase your income. And again, these are value add strategies for your properties. This is Brian Lucier from the Why Not Real Estate Podcast, signing off, and we'll see you on the next one.